I want to talk to you about making a website with HTML in a couple of steps. Okay. So let's also talk about post development. I want to share with you a few suggestions to make sure you are getting things right real fast. Okay. So here are the steps I want you to really pay attention to. When you think about making a website with HTML, first of all, building a website nowadays is simple and doesn't require coding knowledge. So that's a good thing. Okay. So platforms like GoDaddy, like Wix, like Hostinger, Website Builder. Those platforms make it very easy. They offer a simple visual interface and drag and drop features to ease the development processes. And however, you want to build websites from scratch with HTML the right way. HTML websites are more flexible and faster because they require fewer resources to run. Okay, so the first thing you want to do here is to pick an HTML editor, an HTML code editor. So if you want to build a website with HTML, pick the right code editor. So a code editor is actually software used to write your website. So while you can create an HTML page with a default text editor like Notepad, it lacks features that help simplify the development process. Okay, so you want to really you want to understand that you want to have features such as syntax, highlighting, auto completion, error detection, integration, live preview, Notepad Plus, okay, Atom, and Visual Studio Code, which are really tools that can really help you in terms of HTML code editor. So if you're looking for an HTML code editor today, I want you to think about Notepad Plus. This is a free, lightweight text editor with added features for coding and plugin support. You have Atom. Atom is an open source HTML editor with a live website preview feature and extensive markup and scripting language compatibility. And what about Visual Studio Code? Well, here is a popular tool for web development with a comprehensive extension library to expand its functionalities. So a lot of goodies. So the first thing is you want to pick an HTML code editor. Next, you want to plan the site layout. So creating a layout plan allows you to better visualize your website's look. You can also use it as a checklist to track what elements to include in your website. In addition, and that's a good thing you want to probably remember, a layout plan helps you determine your site's usability and navigation, which really affects user experience. So you want to improve your UX. Think about actually HTML. Next thing you want to do here is to actually write the actual HTML code. So once the tool and layout plan is ready, you can start writing your site's code very easily and very quickly. Now the steps may vary depending on your code editor, but the general idea is it's basically similar. So if you use a VS Code, for instance, you just want to create a new folder on your computer. It will be the directory for all your site's files. You want to open VS Code, go to File, Open Folder. You want to look at the new folder and click Select Folder. And you want to select New Files, naming the file index.html and press Enter. What I want to say here is that the process is kind of similar for other HTML editors, okay? And so once prompted to the index.html editor tab, you want to enter the following basic HTML document structure. I want you to look on the screen. This is what a basic HTML document looks like. So so to help you understand the code that I'm just showing you on the screen right now, let me give you an explanation of H tag. So the first tag, doc typed HTML, tells web browser, every web browsers, any web browser that the website is an HTML page. Then you have a HTML, the HTML document opening tag indicating where the code starts. You also have the head. So the head is the tag containing the site's metadata. Title defines the text shown on the browser tab when visiting actually the web page this year. And finally, you have the body. So the body contains all visible content on the web page. So you have a clear idea of how your sites will be structured, okay? Now, you can actually learn the difference between making a website using WordPress versus HTML, okay, to actually know which technique suits you best. If you are a web designer and you're really thinking about doing HTML versus WordPress, be sure that whatever technique you choose, whatever strategy you choose, actually works for your website. Next, you want to create elements in the layout. So if you're thinking about making a website with HTML, after picking an HTML code editor, planning the site layout, writing the HTML code, think now about creating elements in the layout. So you want to add HTML code into the index.html file to create the elements of your planned layout. And those elements will depend on the kind of vision you have for the website. Okay, so that's important from a, let's say, from a flexibility point of view. So that's really important. What I want to say here is that basically, depending on your website design, you will need different HTML semantic elements. So those elements will separate your site into multiple sections and become the containers for the content. Okay, so let me share with you real quick the tags that you will use. You'll use header, the main, the div, and the footer. So header, actually, this container is the container for introductory content or navigation. The main represents the primary content of a web page. Div defines a section in an HTML section, HTML document. So div defines a section in an HTML document, and the footer contains the content displayed at the bottom of your website. So you want to put those elements within the body tags in the body, tags in your HTML, in your index.html files code. Ensures to close each element with a closing tag, or your code won't work. So you gotta have opening tag, closing tag, opening tag, closing tag, opening tag, closing tag, always. Let me share with you how the complete code looks right now. I'm going to show this to you on the screen. So the first part, you have the tag that starts with doc type HTML and actually closes with header. Next, you have a slash header, and then you have div class post text box. Next, you have div and div class profile. You have the fourth one, div and footer. And finally, you have footer, and then you have close tabs HTML. Next, you want to add the HTML document. So if you are trying to make a website with HTML, you want to add the HTML content. So after the layout is ready, start filling them with your site's content. Here I'm speaking about text, images, hyperlinks, or videos. If you want to really have audios, just add audios too. It really depends. For instance, if you having a podcast, you have audios. Now, if the content is not ready, use dummy content as a placeholder and replace it later. That way, at least you have the whole machine. You got the whole machine started. Okay, so here are some tags that I will use, or you will use with me, to add the website content. You have H1 and P. So this contain heading and paragraph text. Use BR tag to create a line break if the text is too long. You also have nav and A. Those two specify the navigation bar and its anchor element. Use the href attribute to specify the anchor's linked URL. And you also have a IMG. So here you have a container for the image content. So the image element. Anytime you have IMG, this stands for image. So it contains the image source attribute. So image src attribute, specifying the link or name of the image file. So that's kind of cool. That's really cool. Now, the image tag also has an optional alt attribute. It will describe the image in case the file doesn't load, And sometimes there are problems, and then you realize the file doesn't load. So I'm going to show you on the screen what the code looks like. So I'm just this is a long code, so I'm going to really break it into maybe two or three different screenshots, so you can see what the code looks like. So after adding the code to your HTML website, will have an appearance. So here is how it will it will really look. The next thing you want to do if you want to make a website with HTML this year, you want to include the layout CSS. Layout CSS is really critical if you are trying to really have, let's say you are trying to add, you want to add an extra layer of professionalism. So since HTML only lets you create the website structure and add basic content, use CSS to change its layout. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So CSS is a language that defines the style of your HTML document. So to do this, you want to create a style.css file and link the style sheet to the HTML document by adding the following code between the head, opening, and closing tags of index.html. So you have a link rel. I'm going to show this to you on the screen. Link rel style sheets href style CSS. So to make the two-column website layout, we will use the flex property. It really arranges HTML elements using flexible containers, allowing them to adjust according to the user's screen size. So here is what the complete code looks like. I'm going to put this on the screen so that it's pretty clear to you. Now this is a long code, so I just want to make sure that you can see it. I'll probably put it on one shot or in one shot or two shots, okay? But yeah, so just go through the code itself, the complete code, and see some some interesting things like the flex, the wrap, the padding, and so on and so forth. So after you add the code snippets to your CSL file, here is how the website will look. I'm putting this to you on the screen right now. So take a look. So you have your personal blog, home, blog, about, newest post, first post, okay? And then you have some kind of generic text. Next thing you want to do here is to customize your site. So if you want to make a website with HTML, customize it. In addition to changing the layout, use CSS to customize other visual aspects of your website. For example, you can change the font family and background image. So to change your website's appearance, you want to add the CSS properties in the element you want to customize, okay? If you want to have a bespoke element, make sure that you do the tweaking at that level. For instance, let me show you the code to style the background color and the text elements of the navigator menu bar. So here is what the code looks like. So after adding CSS styling for every element, here is how the website looks. So I want you to really see what the website looks right now versus what it looked like a few minutes ago when I showed you what the first one looked like. What I'm trying to say here is that you have to really understand that if you are making a website with HTML, everything boils down to what your users are expecting. It boils down to what kind of strategy you have when it comes to having your website resonates with your target audience, right? It's all about making sure that you have the proper strategy, the proper reality also for your specific field. That's important. So next, you want to choose a hosting platform and publish. So basically, once you have all the website files and assets ready, it's time to publish them. So this step requires hosting, which you can obtain from a hosting provider, right? So, and hosting providers, you have everything from Hostinger to GoDaddy to Wix or whatever. Okay, it really depends on you. So you have to really see what works for you and what kind of pricing you are trying to really, or you're trying to really put in. I mean, it's all about it's all about your ROI. So after obtaining hosting, you can use either a file manager or an FTP client to upload your website to the internet. So it really depends. Okay, the file manager method is ideal for uploading website files under 100 gigabytes. So that's important. You got to ask yourself, how much storage do you need? Let me give you a few pro tips here. So, if you are trying to make a website with HTML, it's important to optimize an HTML website. Okay. So, you want to add a drop down bar for better navigation. So, complex websites with multiple pages have many navigation buttons, links, and text. You can create a simple drop down menu using a CSS to group these elements. So users can expand the navigation bar to access the elements, and this helps reduce clutter and improves the website's usability for users with smaller screens. You also want to improve the site's design with advanced CSS because CSS lets you do advanced customization to enhance your site's design for a better UX, a better user experience. For example, you want to enable scroll snapping, text animation, zoom on hover animation, and gradients. In addition, you can build a responsive website with media queries, CSS rules, and flexboxes. And the flexbox layout automatically adapts your site to the client's screen size. You also want to make the site more interactive with JavaScript. So, JavaScript is a scripting language that lets you create interactive and dynamic website content. So, for example, you can enable animation, you can add countdowns, you can include buttons, forms, or menus. So, these features make your website more interesting and immersive, improving user experience. So, this actually the steps to add JavaScript to your HTML website are kind of similar to those for CSS. You can use a separate file or write it directly into the current code. So that's really cool. And if you really need HTML, if the question is, you don't need to learn HTML to build a website. Okay, maybe you don't have time, you don't have commitment, you don't have the skills. The cool thing is you have a lot of platforms that actually let you create a functional website without writing code. So a website builder like a GoDaddy, like Wix, like a Hostinger, whatever, is an excellent option for beginners. Okay, so because it has a visual interface and drag and drop editor, which makes customization easy. So in conclusion, in today's conversation, I spoke to you about basically how to really make a website with HTML. Remember to always pick an HTML editor, plan the site layouts, write the HTML code, create the layout elements, add the HTML content, include layout CSS, customize your sites, and also choose a hosting platform before publishing. Okay, and so it's important to also understand that HTML is actually great for creating a static website. HTML websites require fewer resources to load and are flexible as you can modify the source code. Okay. However, HTML is only suitable for complex websites if paired with CSS and JavaScript. If you are only learning HTML, it's actually better to use WordPress this year. So, as an epilogue into this conversation, I explained to you how to make a website with HTML. I give you the steps and a few pro tips here and there, and finally the epilogue. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.